What if the silent whispers echoing through Golden State's front office aren't just off-season noise, but the prelude to a subtle seismic shift in Dub Nation's destiny? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The Golden State Warriors have so far played their cards close to the vest in some of the quietest months on record. But a recent report is piercing through that stillness with a tantalizing whisper that could reshape the narrative heading into a season that demands both resilience and reinvention. According to NBA insider Brett Siegel, the Warriors, viewed by many around the league as a frontrunner, are lurking in the shadows of free agency, with heavy interest locked on two veterans who could bring not just skills, but the kind of experience that has historically sent ripples through this franchise's championship psyche: Al Horford and De'Anthony Melton. This revelation lands amid a swirling sea of questions that have haunted the Chase Center since last season's roller coaster playoff run, where Golden State, fueled by the game-changing Jimmy Butler trade that ignited their turnaround, battled its way to the second round before succumbing to Minnesota's relentless Timberwolves. Yet, that playoff exit left a haunting question mark. Does this roster harbor the ceiling to clash with the league's true titans? Or is it a team yearning for a missing piece to transcend playoff heartbreaks? The Warriors' front court long, a canvas of vulnerabilities, has been their glass ceiling, particularly at center, a puzzle piece that refuses to slot perfectly. Curry's prolonged absence during the playoff series revealed just how thin the offensive spark can burn without his wizardry lighting the floor, exposing a roster desperately in need of a reliable interior anchor who can stretch defenses and anchor the paint. Enter Al Horford, the 39-year-old five-time All-Star, whose name has begun to dominate whispered conversations and insider chatter as a potential game-changer for Golden State. Despite his age, league insiders expect Horford will not hang up his jersey, but instead embark on a remarkable 19th NBA season with the Warriors, a team precisely ticking off boxes on their long wish list. Why Horford? Because he embodies the rare combination of size, versatility, and cerebral basketball IQ that the Warriors crave: a floor spacer who can shoot, pass, and dribble out front court woes alongside Draymond Green, a steady defensive presence to complement the thunderous dynamism of Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, and a stabilizing mentor whose championship pedigree echoes the grittiness of Golden State's reigning dynasty. And then there's De'Anthony Melton, a player whose name has graced trade rumors, linking him both to the Warriors and the Lakers, with many believing Los Angeles was poised to claim his versatile perimeter defense and three-point shooting. But what if, against the grain of expectations and LA's seemingly inevitable pull, Melton's path bends toward the Bay? After all, Melton isn't just another shooter. He's a defensive pest, an efficient shooter beyond the arc, and a player who, despite a brief six-game cameo with the Warriors last season, showed flashes of immediate contribution. His addition would not rewrite headlines with a splash, but rather write subtle layers into Golden State's evolving tapestry, a defender who can guard multiple positions, help fill the daunting void left when Curry is off the floor, and sharpen the roster's offensive fluidity when critical moments demand clutch execution. This off-season maneuvering, quietly active behind the scenes despite no official contract signed yet, hints at a front office meticulously plotting a measured blueprint, one that doesn't seek blockbuster fireworks, but prefers the art of precise margin improvements. It's a calculated gamble, raising relentless questions. Could this silent pivot eclipse even the seismic trades of the Durant era? Could Horford's veteran savvy combined with Melton's perimeter versatility be the incubator for a new iteration of Warriors dominance? How will this infusion reshape Curry's burden when the postseason cauldron ignites? And will Draymond's voice resonate louder with seasoned peers alongside him? Yet, amid these tantalizing prospects, the tension tightens. This isn't just about adding pieces, but about healing the fractures exposed during last season's grind and reclaiming the swagger that once fueled the "we believe" noise too. Legendary dub domination. The stakes are as high as ever. The Warriors stand at a crossroads, their path shadowed by playoff scars, but illuminated by potential rebirth through strategic stewardship. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing the quiet storm brewing around Horford and D'Anthony. Melton could either be the spark that reignites our dynasty's flame, or the crack that fractures our legacy forever. So, what do you think? Warriors loyal and skeptics alike. Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your blood just ran cold thinking about Al Horford's name suddenly attached to our front court, hit the comments like a splash from Curry's deep. We need to unpack what this means before the chase begins. Because Golden State isn't just tinkering here. It feels like the architects of Chase Center are quietly scripting a masterclass comeback with every whispered name and shadow phone call. This isn't your typical splash-era flurry or predictable let's chase youth narrative. This is chess at a cosmic level, where age and experience blend with youth's reckless Hope Horford at 37 now. But with 18 years of NBA warfare, 4 All-Star nods, multiple deep playoff runs, and a cerebral approach that mirrors the way Kerr coaches, the kind of player who doesn't just fill a box score, but rewires the whole team's DNA, especially when paired with a guy like Draymond Green, whose voice functions as a thunderclap in the locker room. Imagine these two veterans marshaling the chaos, imposing order alongside the raw talent of Kuminga and Moody, giving depth to the Warriors' interior where holes have gaped like rips. In Curry's shooting sleeve whenever the defense clamps down hard, and Melton? That's the quiet storm nobody saw coming. A perimeter grinder who's not flashing for highlight reels, but grinding for every possession like the team's soul. Depends on it which in Warriors land, it always does. The whispers of him slipping past the Lakers' grasp into the Bay's embrace feel less like coincidence and more like a calculated strike. A precision move to plug the holes in that rotational defense we desperately need when the championship. Race tightens in every switch, and every missed closeout becomes a weapon for our rivals. But here's the rub. Are these signings really the glue? Or are they the last desperate sprinkle of seasoning on a recipe running cold? Because we all remember the seismic shockwaves when Durant left and the instability that bled into playoff. Exits we still can't swallow whole. This feels different though, doesn't it? There's restraint from the front office, a patience in the silence that says maybe this isn't about instant fireworks, but about grinding years, about building a sustainable peak rather than gambling on a joined superstar who might fracture. The delicate balance this locker room lives on. There are murmurings among long-time season ticket holders and insiders that the dynamics between Curry and Draymond have crept from fiery to fraught, especially after last season's playoff collapse. Curry's leadership has been immaculate on the surface, but the pressure to carry this franchise on his back grows heavier with every step back from durability and every shadow that questions his place as the GOAT when the banners hang too high in the rafters and the youth look up wondering if the flame will flicker out too soon. And Draymond's pivot as a defensive coach on the floor can that evolve with Horford breathing down the paint alongside him? Or will egos clash like thunder? We've seen those cracks before. The delicate chemistry between the championship core's fading prime and the climbing stars like Kuminga feels like a movie hanging on a razor's edge. The soundtrack swelling as tension mounts with each subtle pass, each half measure of commitment from the front office. Kerr's not just coaching X's and O's, he's orchestrating a fragile dance where every veteran's heartbeat influences the tempo, where Horford's cerebral calm could either soothe the clubhouse or stir unrest, depending on how Curry and Draymond accept this elder statesman's shadow. The more I dig, the more I realize this offseason could be more than a soft reboot. It could be a radical redefinition of what a Warriors team looks like post-dynasty. What if we emerge with a squad so layered and diverse in style that opponents crumble trying to adjust a team where Mo Bamba on the bench, Kuminga's athleticism, Melton's perimeter venom, and Horford's ironclad veteran presence mesh like cogs in a finely tuned engine? Or what if this old-new blend sparks unexpected fracture-stale plays for a tired core, stalled growth for hungry youngsters, or worst of all, the slow fade no one sees coming until it's too late? The stakes? Immense. Because we're not just talking about a next season. This is about legacy. It's about whether Dub Nation remembers this era as the one where Steph led us endlessly into battle despite losing steam, or the one where the front office got creative, took a chance on a marriage of old wisdom and new hunger, and engineered a last stand worthy of our blue and gold soul. The more these puzzle pieces fall into place, the more the inner circle buzzes about playoff resilience, about how last year's heartbreak could serve as the crucible forging a fighter warrior unlike any version we've seen, battle-hardened but smarter, quieter but no less fierce. But here's the thing, if you think this means we can rest easy, think again. Every day without announcements drags like a countdown clock to disaster or salvation. Every whisper about Melton's three-point percentage, Horford's Achilles, health, Draymond's fiery locker room outbursts, or Curry's knee relapse pumps adrenaline and dread through the veins of this fan base like an electric current no defibrillator can smooth out. This feels like the calm before the storm that could either sweep us back to championship grandeur or remind us, with brutal clarity, that dynasties are fragile, that even the mightiest warriors can fall silently. As someone who's bled blue and gold through the Coke Zero hype runs, every parade, every Game 7 blowout, and every dagger from Leonard or Durant who flew away, I can tell you something seismic is stirring beneath those Chase Center floors. This was no mere roster shuffle or media distraction. This is a reckoning. And if Al Horford and D'Anthony Melton tip the scales right, we're not just watching the Warriors rebuild. We're witnessing the blueprint of resurgence, the blueprint of the next great Bay Area epic, one etched not in the chaotic tempest of superstar duels, but in the steady, relentless grind of experience meeting hunger and loyalty. And that grind, my friends, doesn't come with ESPN headlines or Roy bombs. It brews in the film room, on the practice court, in the hushed conversations between Steph and Kerr, between Lacob and Myers and Dunleavy Jr., in the long glances exchanged during summer league games when a two-way rookie shows heart. It manifests in choices we don't even see. A vet men spent wisely, a locker room voice that heals rather than divides, a sacrifice of ego in the name of one more run. So, now the question expands. If this retool works, if these calculated, silent moves become the catalyst, we're talking about a resurrection that flips the entire Western Conference narrative on its head. We're talking about a version of the Warriors not bound by 2015. Nostalgia, but powered by 2025 clarity. And if it fails, if the pieces don't click, if Curry's legs finally falter, if Draymond combusts, if Horford's tank runs empty, then what we're witnessing isn't just a transition, it's an extinction. But either way, we're going to feel it. And maybe that's the point. Maybe this season was never about comfort. Maybe it's about the fight we never thought we'd need to prove again. Because when the lights dim and that intro music hits, at Chase Center this fall, it won't be just a game, it'll be a statement. One final war cry from a dynasty that refuses to die quietly,